So the thing I want to focus on today is your techniques are obviously a lot better.
Right.
Really focus on keeping your arms straight so you can, we talked about before, is either you got two choices, whatever cue you prefer.
Yep.
I always say keep your arms as long as possible.
Okay.
Choice A. Choice B is flex the triceps. I'd probably go with keep your arms as long as possible because you're like a real bodybuilder and know how to do it. So, said before, like we were talking about earlier, the first goal is to break 900, then go for 1,000, then see after that where to go. But you got to do it one step at a time. A lot of people set goals in here, want to gain 100 pounds of muscle or something, they're not going to gain one because they get frustrated. So we got to go one step at a time. Easy. Yep. Yeah. All day. Good job. With Joe, converting a bodybuilder to a strength athlete, there's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences. You always say you can't be a great powerlifter without being part bodybuilder. You're gonna have to train those smaller muscles. You're gonna have to train the accessories, the off-season work, build that work capacity, the volume, things of that nature. Honestly, you can't be it's real tough to be a bodybuilder without being part powerlifting. Strength is your base. There's so many different reasons why, but I mean, just simplest way to put it is gonna keep you more injury-free. And even the sake of like, if you can squat 800 pounds, if you've never done a leg extension before, you're gonna do more, than probably someone who doesn't regulate squats 300 pounds. Like, see how he kind of is right there? Then he dips himself. Watch how he dips himself in a position at the last second. Like he's like, watch. See how he kind of sets down at the last second? I want Alex to try that because it feels weird, but you're not gonna fall over or anything because the weight's gonna counteract you. So it's like you get so tight, you couldn't get down there without doing that. But when you have the weight to counteract, you can like dip at the last second and explode up. That's better, right there is better. Now do that hard, boom, like, right there, dude. Yeah, it's looking better. So this is the weight you want to start turning on, get explosive, like it's gonna set the tone.
All right.
It's heavy enough where, it's not heavy, but it's heavy enough where you're not gonna like hurt yourself because it's so light, What's the goal here? So we look at someone like Joe. First of all, what's the overarching goal? What's the long-term goal? What's the short-term goal? Where does Joe want to go? So the first goal for Joe right now is initially going to be to break his PR because we worked together last year. He went from an 800 deadlift max to a 900 deadlift max, okay? So that's huge progress because it's a world-class, 800 is already world-class. So now the initial goal has to break that PR. That's step one. Step two is the deadlift over 1,000 pounds. When you go again, see how you're right there? I want you to pretend like you want to get my hand off your back, okay? So like, how would you get my hand off? You kind of push back, right? That's what I want you to do next time you go. Pretend like there's somebody right there and you got to get them off you somehow. So it's like, the old expression is, they say hips down, tits up. I mean, that's what it is. Hips down, tits up. So you got somebody on you, you want them off you. It's like you're like a wild horse in the rodeo. You got a cowboy and you're gonna buck off. It's the same thing. Get them off. That's the kind of the overarching goal. Step three of where to go beyond there. Let's get these first two accomplished and kind of focus on that. So look from there, what do you look for next? Look for like useful prior information, okay? So the way Joe was, one thing we know about Joe is Joe likes to go heavy. That's good for powerlifting. We know Joe has a good work capacity in a lot of his accessory work, but however, what's interesting about Joe is he likes to go really heavy for like a set, or he'll like to do like a high rep set, but just do one of them or so. You think about it, where a lot of the strength is going to be built in that sub-maximal range, that it's like that 55 to 85% range of, because that's where you build your technique, that's where you perfect your technique. Yeah. Damn. 675. So you go up to 820 tonight, and often with most people at the gym, I mean, like with lack of political correct terminology, they're poodle dicks. But you have to have discipline. So just because something is someone like Joe, he can break a PR tonight, but that's not the plan. So what we're gonna do here, stick to the plan, 820 for 2 reps. If he don't like that, he can move it faster. Easy. Yep. Yeah. All day. Good job. The first rep on that one, dead on. Second one is like Joe's gotten so strong now, he can kind of get away with that, but instead of bringing his hips through, aka humping the bar, it kind of like got back. So he kind of used all his back to finish it, got it up, but obviously the efficiency is not, you know, but I mean.
Glutes felt tight today.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe from, I didn't do that heavy legs on Monday, but glutes felt pretty tight today. I noticed that even on 500, so.
Well, I mean, bottom line is, got what he had to get, but there always can get better, you know. Strongest body in the world, but doesn't mean you can't get better.
Yeah. Every time, man, even though we've done this weight before, but my challenge right now is like how easy I can get it at this point. And that's what I think about with this weight. It's not about if I can do it, it's about how easy, how quick I want to get it up. That's what John.
Well, and also he's got a reload week, a deload reload week coming up. That'll be a good chance to kind of recharge because it's the last heavy week.
Well,
also, you see now, go to set 625. That's where the work's taking place because a lot of bodybuilders in general, and Joe specifically, are used to training really heavy, or they'll do like a high rep set, but the sub-maximal sets of 2, 3, 4 reps, 1 rep even, that's where you build that pattern. That's where you put the maximum force on the bar and not kill yourself in the process. That's where you hit those sub-maximal weights, putting maximal force in to the bar. So. You also look at like, what do we have access to train on? Well, we're here at Destination Dallas. That's where Joe trains, so that's fantastic. That means the equipment's not going to be, you know, exercise flow, things like that you might have to take into account if you only got like a barbell and like one machine or something. That's awesome. So then you look at Joe or anybody else for that matter, what's the learning curve to the lift? For deadlifts, once we got his technique straightened out, and that wasn't too difficult to do, we're still some things we're trying to focus on. But for the most part, what you got to think about is the learning curve on a deadlift is pretty low. So it becomes a question of, you know, the stimulus, the recovery, the adaptation, things like that, managing fatigue and things of that nature versus like an Olympic lift where it gets super technical, okay? So the way we're going to do this is what we do is, besides Joe's heavier sets, we do a lot of submaximal work with doubles, singles, and triples. So for example, instead of going like 3 sets of 8, we'd go 8 sets of 3 because what that does is that gives us more first reps. That allows Joe to put maximum force on the bar every set, every rep, and that's how you can't, if you try to go to like 100%, 90+% every workout, you would burn yourself out. You'd burn your central nervous system out. So what happens over time is you build movement economy. Like other sports like boxing and things like that, you can have somebody that's like not in as good a shape on paper, like a VO2 max, they'll outlast somebody that's in great shape on paper because they have more efficient movement economy. They don't waste anything. They just expend less energy in a movement. So that's ultimately what we want to do. We get so good at the deadlift that we use less energy doing it. However, the kicker is we want to put maximum force into it. So you have that perfect movement economy. Less energy, however, we're not going to settle for that. We're going to still put maximum force in the bar so we can kind of like double dip and make gains on both ends. So the low reps, more sets is more important so we get the more first reps. You got to think, the more complex the movement, the more important that's going to be. So like something like a snatch or clean and jerk, that would be even more important because it's so complex, okay? So you got to think about this. Your body is capable of more than it's lifting right now. It probably just doesn't know it yet. You have built-in protective mechanisms like your Golgi tendon organ and things like that that start to act up and protect you as a safety mechanism, which in theory, sounds good. If the goal is to win the local lawn bowling tournament, that's a great thing. You probably can still win the local lawn bowling tournament without turning those safety mechanisms on. But if you're not going to drive around the parking lot, you want to get on the highway and really let it go, you're going to have to turn those off. So how do we do that? That's why we train the way we train. It's putting maximum force into the bar. Every single set, every single rep does it, and things like that. And so gradually over time, we can desensitize by doing things like that super maxima overloads, isometrics where he pulls against the pins as hard as he can, that allow him to produce more force than he could concentrically. All those things desensitize his body to the built-in safety mechanism, and that's how you convert like a bodybuilder to a powerlifter, because bodybuilders have, you know, a car with a bigger engine is going to be a more powerful car, i.e., you know, one of the best ways to increase strength is add muscle. The best muscle mass is the greatest way to increase strength potential. But you know, it becomes like at a certain point, it becomes like a hunting rifle that wouldn't be sighted in. Like, yeah, it's can like, you know, blow that up over there, but if it's not sighted in with a scope properly, you kind of shoot in the wind. So we have to kind of like marry that. When we can marry this all together, it produces a synergy of strength. So today, you see it all put into action. I'm very excited to see what, you know, Joe go up to a heavy double today.